Awesome. Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah. So gonna quickly introduce both of them and then get started. So Prabhvir actually, senior director at Samsung Ads. We first interacted in his role with Google, which was his previous role where he was handling the Google marketing platform and DV360 and other products. And we've been using those for many, many years. And Prabhvir comes with about 20 years of experience. Worked with Mindshare, also been an entrepreneur in the middle, and of course now with Samsung Ads. So excited to have you. Welcome, Prabhvir.
Thank you.
On my right, we have Ashish, who's the lead for digital at Livguard. We did see the case study earlier today as well. He comes with about 15 years of experience, and he also started with the agency background with Digstars and McCann and Ogilvy, and then moved on to the auto space where he worked with Eastman and Honda before actually reaching Livguard. So pleasure to have you as well.
Thank you for the introduction.
Awesome. So we're going to talk a bunch of things around how brands are looking at, especially omnichannel brands and brands that look at sales and conversions happening offline, and of course a little bit about attribution as well, because that's something that's probably common to both. So maybe I'll start with you, Prabhvir, right? And if you can take us through what is it that Samsung Ads does, what does that ecosystem look like today? Some of us have obviously leveraged it for the brands that we work with, but if you can give us the overview, and I know it keeps evolving because there's so much happening in that space. So
yeah. It's an exciting space, specifically being in the digital arena for a little over 20 years. TV was one of the only devices which was yet to go digital, the way we understood it. And during my Group M days, we were trained to take money away from the digital platforms and bring them into digital. But when this opportunity came up, it was the first time where there was a hardware company, which is Samsung, was trying to understand the value of television in the digital world, the connected world. And that's where Samsung Ads was fundamentally incubated in 2015. It was the first hardware company to get into the advertising business, with the underlying premise that we can unlock the TV or the black box, because otherwise you do not know what's happening on the TV. So leveraging the power of what's happening on the device, we launched advertising and content services across Samsung TVs around the world. In India, we are just about 2 years old, but there's a first time today you can, with Samsung Ads, you can fully understand what's happening on the TV, what people are watching, what kind of content, how long are they watching, and most importantly, if you're running advertising on televisions, are they actually being played out or not? So some of these powers of TV is what we are actually unlocking in this market. And it's been an eye-opening journey for me, because I was, in confession, always anti-TV advertising. But the moment the data became available, we now have a lot of proof points to say, yes, TV advertising is a critical component of any marketing mix.
No, absolutely. I think the transparency this brings into that is definitely very helpful. Over to you, Ashish. I mean, some of us know Livguard, but maybe you can take us through what is Livguard, what's the legacy of that, and of course it's a brand that's low touch, low involvement, but obviously there's a lot that you're doing on the digital side as well. So how's the journey been for the brand and on the digital front?
So the legacy starts almost 30 years back in 1980s. Rakesh Malhotra, who's the founder of the company, he started SAR Group, and with that he started Luminous. I think most of the people will know what Luminous is and what exactly it's do. So after running that business for quite a long time, he divested almost the entire company and then started Livguard around 2011. With more than 30 years of experience in the same industry, I think an understanding of the all traditional business and dealers and distributors, he started Livguard, and then of course we have seen a tremendous growth into this sector, with both the brands doing very well, leading the market in the top 3 positions along with other competitions that we have. And not only in the energy storage business, the business also came into other forms of businesses such as e-mobility. I think everyone right now are looking at the EV business, and in the next 10 years it will be a tremendous growth for the entire sector and the entire India that we have to look at. So while the strength lies in the energy storage business, I think Livguard right now is one of the only company in India who has the entire e-mobility solution. And in case anyone is looking forward to buy or create a new business in two-wheeler or three-wheeler, they can always come to Livguard and then get the entire plethora of the solutions that are there. So, for example, if it is battery, if it is charging controllers, etc., whatever, and easily the business can be started. That's how that the company has developed the entire business. We are also looking forward to creating a stronger role in the solar business, and we are moving towards that. And almost 80% of budgets are going into solar. That's how we are looking at. That's how the legacy is.
No, absolutely. It's a rich legacy of a founder who's done multiple things. So exciting. And I think when we look at the product and the range as well, a lot of focus on quality, like Sandeep was mentioning from the Jaguar story as well. It's fascinating. So we'll change tracks a bit, right? And I think the topic also leads to that, is to talk a bit about how do brands today measure success and how do they track and attribute that, right? I'll start with you, Prabhvir, right? And I think we were talking offline as well that today when brands look at connected TV, they look at as one channel, but you're typically doing multiple things. How do brands look at unified reach? How do they look at multiple channels coming together, how does that attribution work? How does that success being measured through that? So maybe if you can share some light on that.
Yeah, sure. I think few of the things that we have been able to establish in the market has been really bringing the insights from the TV ecosystem. So typically when we talk to any advertiser today who is running TV advertising, they do not know where their ads actually ran. And now with the evolution of OTTs, which are also being watched on television, there's a big gap in trying to understand, did my ads run on broadcast TV, or did my ads run on streaming platforms, or did my ads run on social media platforms? So one thing we have been able to unlock in the TV ecosystem is something called as automatic content recognition. It's unique to Samsung, where what we do is we take an image of the TV every 5 to 10 milliseconds, a TV which is switched on for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And we process that data anonymously to understand what was the content which was being played on the television. So if you're a large automobile brand who just launched a car or an SUV, and you spend tons of money on advertising across news, GEC, streaming, and you wanted to understand where all did your ads actually pop up, we can actually tell you that. So our starting journey is to really understand where all did your ads play in the TV ecosystem. Step 2 of the process is we understand you're not only running on one single device, you could be running a multi-publisher / multi-device campaigns. There we have a technology where we can fully understand where all people interacted with you on different platforms. And there's one beautiful case study we have done with Cola, where we can re-engage with audiences who have visited the Cola website on Samsung TVs. That's number 2. Number 3, we're just going to introduce this later part of Q4 is if you're running advertising across TV, is that having an impact on your business, your bottom line? So there we are integrating one technology where you can track sales, you can track visit uplifts and so on and so forth. And all of this data, what we have done uniquely vis-a-vis the walled gardens, as we all know, where getting access to data is nearly impossible, is we have made this data interoperable, which means that every campaign that you run with our platform, you can take it, you can ingest it into your CDP, into your DMP, or any other analytics platform where you're analyzing this data. But one big gap in India is people do not measure impression level reach. So when you go back and ask this question of incremental reach, deduplicated audiences, etc., fundamentally, I would say not even one plan is actually tracking at an impression level what was my overlap. We have clickstream data, which is how many clicks happened, people came onto a website, so on and so forth. But we do not know retrospectively how many impressions were overlapping between multiple platforms. So we did a study back in my earlier days where if you are spending about 30 crores, guess how many people you reach out to uniquely?
Probably 3-4 crores.
Yeah, it's about 2 million people. This is about 6 years old data. So if you start calculating cost per reach, cost per impression, etc., that doesn't resonate. And the reason why that is so, because our buying metrics are different. Our buying metrics are CPC, CPX, and so on and so forth. So unless the ecosystem or the advertiser doesn't evolve to say, I really want to understand what is happening at the point of delivery,
right,
and not at the point of engagement, the question of answering unique reach becomes very, very, vague, and it's an ambitious path to follow.
No, absolutely. And I think some programmatic platforms do allow you to stitch it, but still it's not a seamless solution yet. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a quick show of hands. How many of you have actually tried out connected TV in whatever form and shape, right? Could be Samsung, Google, whatever. Quick show of hands of brands that have actually tried out connected TV. You can see about 3-4 hands. Okay. So quite a few of you can take away from what we are saying in terms of how to try this out. Ashish, again, talk about success and measurement. And for a brand like Livguard, of course, people do buy inverter batteries and some of the other products online, but a lot of the sales is still driven offline through dealers, through franchisees, through distributors. How does all of this tie back, and how are you measuring success for a brand that's so dependent on an omni-channel presence?
So I've been into the measurement of offline for almost a decade now. So handling one of the biggest automakers, Honda, when I was looking at the pan-India dealerships and looking at how exactly the sales are happening and tying back all the digital activities that we are doing, and then what exactly is happening at the on-ground level. So there is a big difference between both of them. So there are types of businesses who are having exclusive outlets, which is very easy for a brand to measure how exactly the sales are happening, and then easily can be tied back to digital initiatives. Then there is another form of business wherein there is multi-branded outlets, wherein, for example, Livguard, there are multiple brands which are there, and it's like a smaller store having 4 or 5 batteries or 10 odd batteries of different brands. And it's like a very, very traditional kind of a business wherein there is no digital medium basically dealerships are using. But what we do to measure is having softer KPIs in place, and also having some sort of on-ground KPIs which we can measure. And there are tools which, for example, Meta and Google are providing to us. They can actually help us measure it. So, for example, when we run campaigns in Google, we can always look at various KPI metrics, such as impressions, frequencies, etc. Those are our softer KPIs that we can look at. With the help of Google, where through GMBs, when we do some digital activities, we can always measure the directions, calls that are happening at the end. So somewhere we are able to measure that whatever we did is actually happening something at the on-ground level also. Of course, there are other tools that we can utilize, such as we can always do surveys and then understand what is the consumer behavior, like we did. So we started a digital journey in the month of April, and then we tried understanding how exactly the offline sales worked out, and we saw a good uplift in terms of the awareness campaign giving such a good sales lift, and also the visibility on brand. So that's how we were able to do it.
No, absolutely. As we said, I think it's a combination of multiple things that come together. And the offline survey, even for us, for the first time, we did it to actually understand the lift on ground at the dealer store at the moment of truth, right? And I think that really stitched that really, really, really well. Going a bit deeper into this itself, right? How do you find your audiences digitally for a product like this? How do you actually know where they are? What are the different touch points you've been trying to leverage from the brand side, different channels, different touch points?
Some sort of understanding comes out from the history that we already have. Of course, from on ground, we are able to understand through our research, through our surveys that we do regularly, to understand who is actually buying a product, who are the influencers for us. Right now, we are only targeting men because those are the people who actually go by and go to the store and buy it. That's how we understood the metrics, and then we targeted them. We were able to find the audience on Meta. We were able to find the audience on Google as well. And we were able to effectively target them and, of course, see the results happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is often something brands don't do, is actually talk to consumers and understand their behavior, their patterns, their consumption attributes, and actually use that in your media and creative planning, right? So, and that's something I think we're also working in the cement brand. We're trying to weave that same story. Coming to the audience as well, right, Prabhvir? I presume everyone here would like to understand what is their audience that actually uses connected TV, How do you bifurcate it? Who is it relevant to? What kind of brands actually? I know it's across spectrums, but who is it most relevant to?
So TV buying or connected TV buying is very different from digital buying, because digital buying, you have predefined personas, some signals that these platforms typically provide, which are probabilistic in its nature, etc. In TV, we follow a deterministic model of understanding of what's being watched on the television. So normal TV sales that happens today, if you go to a Star or go to Z or Sony, they normally will sell you content, like advertise on KBC, advertise on Shark Tank, advertise on World Cup and so on and so forth, and they have understanding of what kind of audiences are watching those kind of content. So what we have done is we have translated all of that targeting into connected TV. So what we do is we can tell you how many TVs are watching KBC, how many TVs are watching IPL. We can go one step deeper and we can say how many people are watching IPL on Star and how many people are watching IPL on Jio. So you can start to understand what are the dynamics between broadcast media and streaming media. Then we go one more level deeper, which is we can understand what's the price point of the TV. A person who owns a 65-inch TV or a 55-inch TV is definitely on the higher income bracket, and we use that as a proxy signal to understand the household composition. So these are very basic stuff that we do. Like I mentioned, the stuff that we're doing with Kohler is basically trying to understand how many TVs are there within the vicinity of people who visited the Kohler website. So there again, we are able to target that. What we don't have is gender and age, and that's a black box. Simply because TV is a multi-viewer device.
Shared device, yeah.
So barring Netflix, where you have a profile quite possibly shared between multiple people in the household, there is no way to identify who switched on the TV and who is watching it and who watched it. Right? And at that moment of time when the ad is playing, who is actually consuming that particular advertising content. So we are working on something we call the Samsung panel. We've just launched this in the US H1 of this year. We want to bring that into India and understand what exactly is the viewership behavior of the household between multiple individuals. And because TV can be watched by somebody who is below 18, is another restricting factor where you don't want to get into the territory of brand safety, age, etc. Now it is predominantly assumed that when you run ads on TV, there's nothing else running on TV. So unlike a browser where you might have multiple tabs, you can have content which is user generated, unmoderated, reviewed by algorithm, etc. TV kind of plays safe in that territory. Like everything is predominantly brand safe and compliant, and there can be only one ad running at any given point in time. It's always full screen. So some of those challenges we do not face today. And lastly, when it comes to ingesting data, like how you do today, where you can upload phone numbers and email IDs on some of the platforms. One of the things we principally disagreed with is because we could not get assurances, or we could not get documented evidences that these phone numbers or email IDs were procured legitimately, and there is a privacy policy for you to opt out of it. So unlike a phone or a laptop, which is very individualistic, now imagine if you went on to a website which has sensitive content and you landed up showing the ad on the TV, which is inappropriate for the broader family content. It's going to raise question, hey, how come this TV knows that I went to this particular kind of content? So we have chosen not to play in the phone number and the email category, simply because advertisers and agency could not furnish evidence that this data was collected legitimately, and there's an option for them to opt out of it.
Sure.
And now with the new Data Privacy Act, there is even a more higher importance of how are you processing that data, where are you using that data, and can you choose not anybody else using that data. So we have kept TV targeting very close to the way TV is bought and executed. We've added some level of digital to it, which is transparency, reporting in real time, and added TV intelligence, but stayed away from targeting, which can be mischievous at times and unable to prove the authenticity of how it was collected.
Sure.
That's the approach we have taken.
Fascinating. I think you touched upon a lot of areas which are taking TV and connected TV to the next level. So look forward to seeing how that unravels. This is a question for both of you, right? So creative is often underplayed as media planners, and over time we've consciously, focused on it a lot more. But how have you seen that play out, and what kind of creative communication have you seen work, especially for omnichannel brands and brands that are trying to build on that communication?
So for omnichannel, of course, we all know there's a lot of noise in the market. You have to cut across the noise and then reach out to the audience so that they can connect with us better, engage with us. Often creativity is closely linked with innovation, and we need to link and understand and give the value proposition of the brand, and then also understand what benefits the customer is looking forward to. If we are able to marry both the value prop as well as the benefit, then there will be a lot of relevancy that will be there. Once that is developed, customer will definitely engage with you. And of course, they will consume our content. That's right. What we are doing. That's how I look at creativity. If we are able to cut across the noise, we are able to reach out to the audience.
Got it.
One very interesting thing that I discovered in the TV world is, vis-a-vis other digital platforms, is on the TV world, there is less urgency to skip an ad or change channels. So therefore, all the advertising we do is actually non-skip. So when I started in Samsung in 2020, and we were primarily talking to digital planners, everybody was saying, you 5-second ad chala do, 6-second ad chala do. But TV पे नहीं चलती है. So TV पे storytelling matters.
Correct.
Very, very important. And you're looking at an audience which is either preoccupied with something, or is actually actively engaged with the TV, or is doing multiple tasks. And therefore, what we have seen over the course of time is the portion of the ad duration has grown. Like we started with most of the ads being 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Now our average ad duration is about 20 to 30 seconds. And these are ads which are very different from what I saw during my digital days, which was very call to action driven, very performance driven, to more the classical ads of, why as a brand we're important, how do we connect in your livelihoods, what story do we have to tell. And they do move a significant needle in terms of, reinforcing the brand love, as we call it, as well as a brand recall when you go out in the market to buy that particular product. So very different between my digital experience and my TV selling experience. So what resonates definitely in the TV world is longer formats, better storytelling, lesser focused on click here, buy now, to more like
less call to action.
Most of the ads we run leaves you with a warm, fuzzy feeling about the brand. So that's a big difference that I have learned in my TV years, which have been very, very short, versus my digital year, which was all about call to action, click leke aao, view leke aao, conversion leke aao, where this is quite opposite.
Yeah, the emotional connect and building the brand for the long term is definitely a common connect. Yeah,
I still feel one of the points that he made was on skippable ads. I think lot of brands doing innovations there. I remember some brands doing skip karke to dikha, and then people don't actually skip it. That's the kind of innovation and creativity that we can see. So that's the way people tend to consume more content and then have more relatability.
So I'll tell you a story there. This is 2011. TrueView ads were just launched, and I was at Mindshare in Singapore. Just the concept of telling the advertiser that somebody can skip your ad was offending. Like, why would somebody skip my ad? Like, I've spent tons of money in building this storyline, etc., etc., etc. Why would you want to give this person the option to skip my ad? Fast forward 10 years down the line, it is second nature that, yes, I would reward somebody who's seen my ad, but anybody who wants to skip it, I can, bypass it. So it has gone through that evolution, and we are where we are today.
No, absolutely. In fact, the way we look at it is also, depending on where you're going to do this, what the channel is going to be, you need to look at different creative elements that come together, right?
Yep.
The core story might still be the same, but the way you would execute it would be very, very different for each channel, and that's the power of
Correct.
Of personalization that you need to bring into the table.